Well, she tore up. Our next guest is already here with us. She tore up the TV screen this past season as YNR's Phyllis, who's had a steamy affair with her husband's brother. But the story...
Hi.
But that story, and here she is.
Oh my gosh.
She's just jumping right in. Yeah.
Gina.
Hi, Gina.
Hi, I made it. Hi.
Hi.
Hi, Laura Wright.
Hi, Gina Tognoni.
Hi.
Hi, my two favorite people.
Hi.
Hello.
Hi. So congratulations, Gina.
Yes, congratulations.
What a great group, huh?
Great group. Are you kidding me?
I know.
This is like
The creme de la
seriously,
creme.
It really is. It's kind of like the Olympics of daytime.
It is. I mean, this is. When I look at this group, I'm like, wow, they're all heavy hitters, right?
Really heavy hitters. Yeah. No, Jeff Walton, Laura Wright. Are you kidding me? Nancy Grahn. What?
So fun. Heather Tom.
Yeah.
Heather Tom. Dude, are you kidding me?
I know.
Like, you know, the funny thing is that I played Kelly. She came to play Kelly. I went to go play. I mean,
That's right.
It's like baseball.
Totally.
And we're talking about it for the audience. It's Heather Tom played Kelly Kramer on One Life to Live, and so did Gina.
Right.
That's yeah.
Yeah, she did such a great job with that too. She got nominated for that role.
Yeah.
But no, she really did. But and I don't think I ever did. I don't know if I ever did for Kelly. But I mean, this is like, if you step back, this is like really. You know, we're so in it. Sometimes I think, you know, we work so hard, you know, and we're trying to, you know, do our best every day, every one of us. And we really do care. I mean, that's the thing. What I love about Laura, I love about you, girl, is that you care so much about what you do. And I think that's what connects us as friends. You know what I mean?
No, we've worked together on
Guiding Light together. Can you tell me about working together on Guiding Light together? I want a little Guiding Light backstage.
Oh my gosh! Well, it was funny because we played enemies. Oh, one of the best stories is she carried my baby. Like my boyfriend implanted our embryos in her because he thought I was with somebody else. You know, that was a really growing time for me, I have to say, as an actor, because I remember I was with one scene and I would just walk out the door. Like, why am I even standing here? And I remember Brian, you remember Brian, Gina, and Brian Murtis, and he was like, because you have to.
Great director.
I was like, I would never. And he's like, so if you had to, what would you do? And I'm like, oh, okay, I get it. Right.
Exactly. And so this is what I love about Laura Wright. So we're gonna switch it to Laura Wright.
Okay, let's do that.
But I think, you know, Laura and I had a recent conversation of what makes our job so fulfilling. Is that we have these crazy storylines that come across our desk, or, you know, whatever you want to call it, and come across our way. And, you know, we have a job, we're getting paid to do it, and someone pays us to do it, so that's like such a blessing. And you have to justify the story. You know, you have to entertain people if someone's telling you to do it. And, you know, there is no, I wouldn't do this. This would never happen.
Yeah.
Well, of course it would never happen. You know,
These characters aren't even, these people aren't even real.
Of course it wouldn't.
Yeah.
It's an alternate universe. And
you find the truth in the alternate universe. Absolutely.
My dentist told me today I live
right.
in an alternate universe with the soap operas.
Yeah.
I'm like, you're right,
that's
I do.
right. And it does not matter. And you can't be like all critical, like, oh, this would never happen. But, you know, you find the truth. And so, which brings me back to what we submitted for 2016.
Yeah.
Phyllis's story was so outlandish. It was the craziest thing. She was married to Jack, and Jack suddenly had a twin. We can't even call it a twin because he wasn't. It was another man that looked just like him that came into. Did you hear that? The car that just completely.
Oh my gosh, are you all right?
Yeah. No, I'm fine. I'm outside though, so I don't.
I thought that was someone coughing something up.
No.
I was
Yeah,
like,
really.
oh,
No. It was a car.
Over.
Okay. It was a car outside. But so Jack comes into my life, and Jack's, you know, twin, if you want to call it, comes into my life, and I don't recognize him as my husband, and he takes advantage of me. So then we find the story of Phyllis being taken advantage of emotionally and physically, and so it's a story that's difficult to relate to initially, but then we find the through line of a woman who is abused emotionally and loses herself within that. And that was a story that was so much fun to tell last year. And that's what made it important. They did a great job. We did really great things with our camera angles. We got very cinematic with the way we told the story through our great producer, Mal Young. He pushed our cameraman, and we did something that was very cool and raw, which I like, which helps tell the story. And, the show is great. The production value is wonderful. So super proud of the work we did last year. And, so that's why I submitted it. A lot of people ask, why do you choose certain scenes? And that was it. And that's why we do what we do, because it's about telling the truth within the chaos.
And Jason Thompson and Peter Bergman weren't bad to work with either.
Oh, my God. So I just want to say, because you can, Peter Bergman gets nominated. I'm so thrilled because he really is my best friend in so many ways. I say to Peter, when he decides to stop acting, he could become one of the best teachers I could ever think of for scene study, because he truly understands the structure of a scene, and wonderful man to work with to talk about how a scene develops and what makes it great. Jason Thompson, the most generous, present human being I have come across in a long time. Great artist, very generous.
Absolutely.
It broke my heart today. Today that the community did not recognize him for his work. But
we mentioned that earlier.
I feel the same way about Maurice Bernard. I'm right there with you.
Really felt that. But then I take a breath and I remember what it feels like when you do really good stuff, and for some reason it maybe, doesn't get seen or whatever you want to call it. You take a breath and you realize, everything is in timing. And this is a man that when we were done today, when announcements came out, we went to go do a bunch of scenes on the floor that were not that easy. They just weren't that easy to comprehend. They deserved a lot of discussion, actually. And we had a lot to do, and we had to get out. And this is a man who gave 110%. And I look at Jason as one of the most generous souls. And I tell him, I said, because of you, our story was amazing last year. And I don't know why you didn't get nominated, but I know your time is coming because you're a powerhouse. And it will happen, and it's a very fine line, when you see somebody so great. And you don't want to say too much because you don't want to sound like you're condescending.
Right.
Anyway, but wow, what an amazing human being.
Gina, I also said too. I said today when I talked to someone about my nomination, they said, "Well, so gosh, does this just make your year great?" And I go, "Well, it's awesome, but it doesn't change how amazing my year was. Like this doesn't change at all the moments that I had throughout the year." Those moments were spectacular. Yeah. So nothing can take away the performances that I gave, whether I got a nomination or not. And the same goes for anyone else.
I loved Jason's
Jason
work.
Is amazing.
I love, Jason's a friend, and I love him, and his work is amazing. And I actually loved his very first, that second show when he's at one, it's all about him. He's coming out of his out-of-body experience.
He's coming out of his body.
And it was early in January. I thought that was the most fantastic.
Yep, everybody loves it.
Because how can you come into a show and your first big scenes are that good and that great?
Because he's Jason Thompson.
Because he's Jason Thompson.
Because it's Jason Thompson.
So I'm with you guys on that.
And Gina, your whole reel was amazing, but
Thank you.
I just could not get over how I got very emotional. That scene in the courtroom ripped me apart. You were just so raw and right on and perfect
and right. You were right.
Yes.
You're right.
You don't always get to give a great performance and you're right. Like sometimes you're arguing, or you're like in the wrong, but you're like, and mother,
Right.
That's interesting. Very nice. I like that. I didn't even look at it like that. That's cool. Thanks, guys. Thanks.
So you'll obviously be attending the ceremonies and the ladies' lunch.
No, I'm not going.
Yes, you are.
Going at all.
Yes, you are. But now, what about, we were talking to,
you better.
is picking out the dress something you like to do or hate? Laura doesn't like it.
Listen, I am so thankful to be nominated, but I think I'm going to think about the color. I'm like, what color should I wear? Should it be white? Should it be black? I don't know. So, to me, I don't really think about what it looks like. I think about the color, and I have a dear friend who I adore from Guiding Light days, Angelique O'Neill, who used to work at Watch Magazine, and she helped me with my Emmy dress back in the day. And so we always, talk about that and decide, what color are we feeling and what's our soul saying? And, we go from there. But, just keep it nice and easy.
Awesome. Well, I can't wait for our luncheon and we get to hang out again.
Yeah, so when is that? When do we have lunch?
I don't know. I think it's on Mary Beth to plan.
Mary Beth Evans has to figure this out and then pay for all of you.
No, I don't think she has to pay.
Oh, I'm saying she does.
Who does pay? Wait. Who does pay?
I thought it was Mary
Well,
Beth.
I think in the
winner.
past it was, but I think after a while, I don't know. I think I paid. I think I paid the year I won. I think I did. I took everyone out to this Italian restaurant in Beverly Hills.
The winner pays?
Yeah, winner
pays. The
pays.
winner from the past year pays for the but I brought gifts. I had cookies made with everyone's faces put on them.
I think it's the winner. Doesn't the winner pick the place and then pay for it?
The winner from the past year. Yeah,
right.
they hosted. Because Eileen hosted us when we went to
I remember
our last one, Chateau.
Chateau Marmont?
Yeah, that's where we went. Remember, we went there for lunch.
It was beautiful. Yeah, that was great. I love that.
That was a great idea. If Mary Beth is listening.
Thanks, Mary Beth.
You know what's funny is that the first day that Laura and I text, they're like, okay, so where's lunch?
Totally. We're like, what's going on? When are we going to get
this lunch could be like a
the ladies' lunch is always so. It's like one of the. It's one of the main reasons you want to get nominated.
It'd be like the real actresses of Hollywood,
Well, it was funny. The first year I was nominated, we were so afraid. That's when shows were, and we were so afraid it might be the last Emmy. Everyone was so afraid that Susan Flannery invited past everyone. There was so many actresses there, and it was so much fun because it was when it was in Vegas.
That's right.
Oh, right.
It was a lot of fun.
All right, Gina, thank you so much for calling in.
Congrats, Gina.
Congrats.
Yeah, congratulations,
Well
Gina. I can't wait to see you.
Can't wait to see you at the Emmys.
Okay.
All right, have a great night.
Bye.
Bye.
All right, sweetheart.